Alright, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a video on the sexiest topic of all time. Credit. Said nobody ever. So, I promise you that you probably have not seen this, and you're going to learn some in this video on the history of credit. Because a lot of people think credit is something that it's not. And hopefully you get some value from this, learn something. So let's get into it. The history of credit, again, the most fun topic ever that everyone loves to talk about and study. Psych. Here we go. All right. Pop quiz. You didn't think that was coming, right? All right, so pop quiz real quick. So, how old is credit? Is it A, 5,000 years old, B, 70 years old, C, 100 to 150 years old? You got 3 seconds to come to the answer. 3, 2, 1, and you're done. Now, for those of you who said anything other than A, you're incorrect. Believe it or not, credit's old. It's 5,000 years old. It's just as old as insurance, and not older, I think, okay? So it's nothing new. So, here we go. Timeline, 3500 BC, summer. It's the first urban civilization with about 89% of its population living in cities. It is thought that consumer loans for agricultural purposes are first used here. Babylon, 1800 BC, the Code of Hammurabi is written. This formalizes the first known laws around credit. It also establishes the maximum interest rates that can be used legally. So, loans to grain, most you can charge is 33.3% per year. Silver, 20% per year, which is still expensive even in today, you know. But to be valid, loans have to be witnessed by a public official and recorded as a contract. The Roman Republic, 50 BC. Around this time, Cicero notes that his neighbor bought 625 acres of land for 11.5 million sesterces. I'm probably butchering that word. But the question is, did they literally carry 11.5 tons of coins through the streets of Rome? Nope. It was done through credit and paper. Cicero writes, I'm going to butcher the crap out of this, but here we go. Nomina facit negodium confiscit. See, I butchered that. Translation. He uses credit to complete the purchase. Dark Ages, the best time in human history. Would you not agree? After the collapse of the Western Roman Empire, economic activity grinds to a halt. The church bans usury, the practice of charging interest on loans for all laymen under Charlemagne's rule, 760 to 814 AD. Here we got a little Bible verse or quote from the Bible. Lend expecting nothing in return. Luke 6:35. Age of discovery. And spoiler alert, you're about to see England really take this like all the way. Okay. 1500, Age of Discovery. As European explorers and merchants begin trade missions to faraway lands, the need for capital and credit increases. 1545, England. After the Reformation, the first country to establish a legal rate of interest is England in 1545, during the reign of Henry VIII, who loved his wives so much they all lived. I think they all died. All of them except for one. But anyways, the rate is set at 10%. England, 1787, philosopher Jeremy Bentham writes a treatise called A Defense of Usury, arguing that restrictions on interest rates harm the ability to raise capital for innovation. If risky new ventures cannot be funded, that growth becomes limited, and I do agree with that, unless you're paying way too much interest, but what do I know about that? Modern consumer credit, as you can see here, like I said, England's really leading charge in this. 1803, England, okay? Credit reporting itself originated in England in the early 19th century. So, a group of English tailors come together to swap information about customers who failed to settle their debts. It is the earliest available account of credit reporting. Oh, but it gets better. Boom, England, 1826. Really think about this as I read this. The Manchester Guardian Society is formed and begins issuing a monthly newsletter. This is a monthly newsletter to the public, information about people who failed to pay their debts. England wasn't playing back then. They still don't play to a degree. But back then they're like, you don't pay me, I'm going to put you on blast. So could you imagine opening up the paper and some guy named, for example, John Smith comes to you who wants to borrow like 100,000 pounds of like, you know, of English currency. You're like, let me look this guy up. You look him up, and he ain't paying nobody back. You're like, nope. Now, compare this to now where credit's like extremely personal, and should someone get your credit report without your permission, they can be sued, right? But back then, they were like, nah, screw you. If you don't pay me back, I'm putting you out there. Atlanta, 1899, the retail credit company is founded and begins compiling an extensive list of creditworthy customers. So, the company later changed its name to Equifax. So today, Equifax is the oldest of the 3 major credit agencies in the United States. Boom, credit boom. Detroit, 1908. Detroit, what? Anyways, Henry Ford's Model T makes automobiles accessible to the great multitude of people, but they are still too expensive to buy with cash for most families. So what did they do? Detroit again, 1919. GM solves this problem by loaning consumers the money they need to buy a new car. So, General Motors Acceptance Corporation, GMAC, is founded and popularized the idea of installment plan financing. Consumers can now get a car just a 35% down payment at time of financing, which is quite a huge percentage, And today, we think putting $1,000 out for a car is expensive, which it is, but back then, like 35%, that's like, that should be towards a house or something. But anyways, I digress. USA 1930, efficient U.S. factories are pumping out cheaper consumer products and appliances. Following the lead of GM, now washing machines, furniture, refrigerators, phonographs, and radios can be bought on installment plans. Also, by this time, 2/3 of all autos are bought on installment plans. First in big data, USA 1950. By 1950, the typical middle-class American has revolving credit accounts at different merchants. Maintaining several different cards and monthly payments is inconvenient and creates a new opportunity. Diners Club introduces their charge cards, which helps open the floodgates for other consumer credit products. 1955 USA, early credit reporters used millions of index cards sorted in a massive filing system to keep track of consumers around the country. To get the latest info, agencies scour local newspapers for notices of arrests, promotions, marriages, and deaths, attaching this information to individual credit files. Now, a couple things here. When they did this, they were really focusing more on the negative stuff. And could you imagine having to file all this information and how many mistakes there were made? Crazy. USA 1958, Bank of America card. Now Visa is dropped in Fresno, California. American Express and MasterCard soon follow, offering Americans general credit for a wide range of purchases. 1960, at a time when technology is limited to filing cabinets, the postage meter, and the telephone, American credit bureaus issue 60 million credit reports in a single year. That's a lot for back then. I wonder how much we do now. 1964, the Association of Credit Bureaus in the U.S. conducts the first studies into the application of computer technologies to credit reporting. Accuracy of data is also improved around this time by standardizing credit application forms. 1970, the first Fair Credit Reporting Act is passed in the United States. It establishes a standard legal framework of credit reporting agencies. 1980s, the 3 biggest credit bureaus attain universal coverage across the country. TransUnion, Experian, and Equifax, because you love them all so much. 1989, the FICO score is introduced and quickly becomes a standard system to measure credit scores based on objective factors and data. It is still used by 90 of 100 of the largest institutions in the U.S. to assess credit risk. Yep. Boom. 2006, Vantage Score. The Vantage Score is created through a joint venture between the top 3 credit scoring agencies. This new consumer credit scoring model is used by about 10% of the market. So, it is true. So, 6 of the 10 largest banks use Vantage Score. The end. That, my friend, is the end. So, your little hashtag mind blown. So, if you were watching this from someone that shared it with you and you would like help with your credit, please get back with them to find out how. Having to watch this online on our YouTube channel. If you want, reach out to us directly. We'll help you out. Other than that, help you enjoy this and you need help with credit, please reach out to us and the person that got back to you with this. Thank you.